Greetings. This is Bradford Donald Keller Townsend, and this is a Dyslexic Learners video. We're going to do a step-by-step example, and we're going to have exponents and parentheses, and I'm going to step it up to intermediate. Okay. Now, what advanced looks like. All right. Here's advanced, and here's intermediate. Okay. Now, when we're going to do a problem, we want to start by carefully reading the instructions and figuring out what's to be asked for. And this particular problem says simplify. Okay? And there's parentheses on the left to begin with. And it has 4 plus 6 plus 3 times 3 hat. That means 3 to the second power plus 2 divided by 1. And I have a scratch piece of paper here, and I got my calculator ready, and I have my eraser handy. So I'm going to talk through what the order of precedence is. So parentheses goes first, okay? So then I'm just saying what I think that we should do. And I can get the problem wrong, but we're going to get the correct solution through Wolfram problem generator step-by-step results. So the parentheses come first, so that's going to be the 4 plus 6 is going to equal 10. Okay. And then we're going to, then after parentheses goes exponents. So that simplifies within the parentheses to 10. And then that's going to be plus 3 times 3 to the second power. So that's an exponent. So that, we need, and then plus 2 divided by 1. So I'm saying the next thing we probably would be doing is take that squared. So we're going to have 10 plus 3. Okay. Now you should work along with me, and you can pause it if you need to. Then we're going to have the times. Then if we take 3 times 3, we'll have 9. Plus 2 divided by 1. Okay, so then multiplication goes before addition, subtraction. When you have something equal, like you have the 10 you have the 3 times there. You have 10 plus 3, and then you have, it's 10 plus 3 times 3, which has now become 3 squared, which is 9. We already did that operation. Plus 2 divided by 1. Okay, so the divided and the times, since we have no more exponents left, those are next in precedence, but we're going from left to right. So we'll go 10 plus 3 times 9, and I get 27 plus 2 divided by 1. So the next operation is going to be that divide. So we're going to have 10 plus 27 plus 2 divided by 1 is 2. Okay, or you could say 2 over 1 simplifies to 2. Now I have addition, so you add those together and get 39. So for this one, I want to try that and see if I could be wrong. Let's see what happens. Oh, I'm correct. Alrighty. All right. So let's try an advanced problem and see what it's like. Okay. Now this says compute instead of simplify. You get 13 minus 14 plus 5 plus 11 divided by 6 to the second power. That's what this circumflex or hat or chevron, I've heard all of those used. And then plus parentheses 14 minus 5 parentheses period. They don't need a period. This isn't a sentence. So that's kind of a typo. So what takes precedence? Parentheses are first. So if we were to work through this problem, get 13 minus 14, write it all out, plus 5 plus 11 divided by 6 squared plus, and then we're going to simplify the parentheses. 14 minus 15 is negative 1. Okay, and I keep that in parentheses. Okay, so what comes next? That's going to be the exponent there where it says 6 squared. It's the second one from the right. So we're going to do that next. We're going to get 13 minus 14 plus 5 plus 11 divided by 36. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify that, and plus a negative 1 is a minus 1. Okay, so if we look here, we got 13 minus 14 plus 5 plus 11 divided by 36 minus 1. Well, division is the highest precedence of the operators left. So let's go ahead and do that. I get 13 minus 14 plus 5 plus 11 over 36 minus 1. All right. So now we have orders of operations with a fraction. And when you see a fraction like that, we start thinking about common denominator. But since everything is of equal precedence now, we're going to start with the left and move right. So we're going to take that negative 14 minus 13. That'll give us negative 1 plus 5 plus 11 over 36 minus 1. Alrighty. Now we're going to start over at the left. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4 plus 11 over 36 minus 1. Okay. So we'll have to have everything in 36s in our denominator. So over here on I can use a calculator, but I'm just going to do it by hand. I'm going to say 36 times 4. I'm not going to try to do that in my head because I'm dyslexic. So 6 times 4 is 24. I'm going to carry a little 2 up here. 6 times 4 is 24. A 4 down here. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So I get 4 times 36 is 144. So I'm going to have 144 over 4 here. Okay, excuse me, over 36. All right, that was a big goofy. Okay, so I got 144 over 136 because I'm trying to get to common denominators. Plus 11 over 36 minus 36 over 36. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my left. I'm going to add the 11 and the 144, so I want to get 155 over 36 minus 36 over 36. And then I take 155 minus 36. I want to do it longhand. I want to take 6 minus 5. Well, I can't do that, so I have to make this a 4 and carry that over. So 6 minus 15, that's 9. 3 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 1 is 119. So I get 119 over 36. So I may have gotten that wrong, but that's okay. We'll see what the computer comes up with. 119 divided by 36. Enter. Correct. So we got an advanced one correct. Now, this is an advanced one. It has parentheses. It has an exponent. I'm going to just type in 0 twice to get the wrong answer, just so we, instead of me describing it just verbally, that way you'll be able to see it, a solution by the computer. Okay, that's incorrect. I'm going to hit it a second time. All right, show all steps. Show all steps. Okay, and then I have to scroll to the top. All right. So on this one, I messed up in that we should probably talk about the problem first. Okay, so the problem is 14 divided by 14, and then that is minus. It's good if you have one of those pens that's different colors, or pencils, even to make your minuses a different color, because they're really hard. They mess you up. They're good to track your minus signs. 5 squared plus, we have parentheses. Parentheses are the highest precedence, the first thing you'll be doing. 7 minus 10, and then that's a divided symbol. 9 squared plus 10. So on this one, we're going to look at the solutions, but the first thing is going to be the parentheses. That's going to be first, and then exponents is going to be second. But if there's 2 exponents, you always go from left to right. So the second one is going to be that minus 5x squared, but you're going to do the making that into 25. So that'll be your second step, is making that into a 25. And then the third step is going to be that 9 squared. So just so you have an idea for when we go through the step-by-step solution. So the problem is 14 divided by 14 minus 5 squared plus 7 minus 10 in parentheses. The parentheses are 7 parentheses, 7 minus 10 parentheses. Here's a divided, and then an exponent, and then a plus operation, and a 10. So when you have equal precedence, you go from left to right. And of course it makes a difference and would change your answer. Okay, so let's view the step-by-step solution. Show all steps. Scroll to the top. Okay, so they did the 5 squared before the parentheses. Okay, let's see what, and then says express dividing 14 by 14. Any non-zero number divided by itself is 1 equals 1. Subtract 10 from 7 gives you negative 3. That's here. Evaluate 9 squared. Factor out a negative sign in 1 minus 25 in order to subtract. Subtract 1 from 25. Express in a fraction form. Negative 3 over 81. Shows it here. Here's the negative 3 over 81 minus 24 plus 10. Reduce negative 3 over 81 to lowest terms. Start by finding the greatest common denominator of negative 3 and 81. Okay, and 27. 3 times 27 is 81. So that's what they're doing here. They're breaking negative 3 in half to 3 and negative times negative 1. And if there's no X symbol or dot, then that means, that's tricky. That means multiply right there where I'm circling. So they can have 3 dot, parentheses, negative 1. They can have 3 with a big X, or they can have nothing. And then right below it, they change their notation and switch over to 3 times 27. They could have done the same thing and put the 27 in parentheses and put it next to there. And then that equals, that's simplifying. See the 3's here? They're breaking that up. They're breaking this up, negative 127. And then that equals negative 1 over 27. Because these 3's become 1 and they drop out. So this is left. So negative 1 over 27. Now this is equal, equal, equal. So negative 3 over 81 equals all this. It equals all this. And it equals this. They're all the same thing. It's all writing the same expression. I guess would be the right word. 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways. And then they have that plus 10. That's the last thing in the string of numbers there in the expression that we're trying to work on here. Then it says put the fractions as negative 24 minus 1 over 27 over a common denominator. And this is kind of the big step here in the middle where you have 27 times parentheses negative 24 close parentheses over 27. Again, those 27's cancel out to 1. And then it has minus 1 over 27. And then the 10 that's kind of tagging along there, plus 10 at the end. That's low at precedence so far, has been that plus sign there. Multiply 27 and negative 24 together, so you're going to get a big number here. And it shows doing the multiplication, like if you take 4 times 27. Okay, I know that from a multiplication table is 28. I'll carry a 2 there and have an 8. Then I'll times that. I got 8, but then I've got a 2 up there, so that makes it 10. That's where this 10 comes from. Then I do this 2, and that's 14, so the 4 comes down here, and I carry a 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. That's where the 5 comes here that I'm circling. And remember, you shift it over, so you bring down the 8, you bring down the 4, and then you add 5 plus 1, you get 6. So this big multiplication is 648, and it's a negative. They kind of made an error there. There should be a negative there or somewhere in here. That 24 should have a negative in front of it. And this number is negative. But they corrected themselves here. They didn't forget to lose that negative sign, and here it is, that big number over 27. That was the whole point of multiplying, so that you get 27 in your least common denominator. You're only going to subtract 1, And that's going to make this become negative 649. Because if you think of a number line, you're going to be moving just a teeny bit to your left again, away from 0. You're moving away from 0. And that's going to be plus 10. Okay, so you're going to have to... here, there's what I was saying. So let's see, when did they... Finally down here they show the negative 649 over 27 plus 10. And again, to add these two, you're going to need to have at least common denominator of 27, so you're going to have to take 27 times 10, which means you're just going to put a 0 on there. Okay? So it's going to be 270 over 27 plus this number. And it goes through those steps here. And here's that 270 over 27. We got the least common denominator here. Subtract the fractions over a common denominator to a single fraction. So they're showing you the good steps there. They're doing their job. Okay, so you're going to take this number minus that. So we know there's going to be a 9 in it because 0 doesn't change anything. But this is a little tricky. You got a 7. You're going to be adding here. And then, so this is going to be a smaller or less negative number. Okay? So, and then that's the solution. Negative 374 over 27. Alrighty? I don't want these videos to get too long, but I wanted to do a more advanced one and walk it through you. There's lots of tricky parts there, especially when you get, let's say, you know, you're adding two negatives together, and it's good to think of when you get into negatives to think about a number line. That's all I have. Au revoir, mon ami.